Hey folks, and welcome to this symposium. Today we're going to continue looking at some trades that I recently took. The trades were based on supply and demand software, basically on the dashboard. So I like to use a dashboard. I stay on there throughout the day. I have it running in the background, and I check in with it relatively often and see if there's anything setting up while I'm sitting here programming. And I just find that to be a really nice way to, do nothing unless there's something to do. Okay, so if we have a look, I had a trade here on the American dollar, Canadian dollar. This was just looking at the chart and seeing that we just had a pretty decent area here from which price departed very quickly. We also managed to move below some lows, and we did actually have an area here that was tested several times, and now it's gone, and the area that did that was here. Okay, so I put in a short entry here to sell, and got stopped out pretty quickly. That happens. Let's have a look, see if we got even a reaction. I don't even think we got a reaction. I think price just tore through it very quickly. So that happens. So we had a losing trade. I logged it, put it back in. So let's have a look at this one here. This is the Australian dollar, Canadian dollar. We'll see what this is all about. See, this was a really small trade that I took based on the lows. If we have a look here, we had a buy zone right here. And I thought that we'd get a reaction there. And we did. We didn't get a huge one. We got a decent one. We hit my target. I didn't get on these ones. I don't get greedy because we have price inefficiency here. We can expect price to rebalance, which it did beautifully on this 30-minute area of demand. And so I jumped in here, went straight to my target, and then we continued to move down. Okay. And so in a situation where you're buying at buy and sell zones and not at supply and demand, then you have to be a little realistic. Okay. So that was a little one that I took there, and we have another one here. Let's see what this is all about. Here. Okay, so now I'm on this trade. So when I got into this trade, I didn't have anything but this. I could see nothing more than this. Okay, price was here, went up here, and we went up. And I thought, yeah, I'd like to try and get that trade going there. But what I did not like about that is that prior to me getting filled, see, I was filled right here, so I had my area marked off like so. Exactly like this. But prior to getting filled, we painted this candle here. So I thought, I didn't like that so much. Okay, I was hoping for price to close above that. And if price would have closed above that on this candle, I wouldn't have closed it out, but it didn't. I mean, we went up to this. This is the reason this is important is because this is a micro sell zone. Okay, there's an arrow pointing to this price point right here. Okay, so when prices come up there in the future, you can expect some kind of reaction. Okay, and if price would have closed above that, I'd have felt confident, but it didn't. Price came down, we filled here, we went up here, we closed above this candle, we went higher, and then we came back and we didn't even close above this candle. And so I closed it out immediately. I kind of figured that we were going to run south, which we did. So I only got half of the position out there. Actually, a third. Maybe this is a 3-to-1 target. So I only got like one. Out of that, I was risking maybe about $60, and I got the 57 out. So that wasn't so interesting, but I didn't lose the trade, and I watched it very carefully, and everything played out as I expected. And so I just managed to get out. What's this? I don't even know what that is. Maybe a robot. I don't know what that is. We have this one here. Okay. So this one. On the Swiss franc Japanese yen. This is a short from here, and I saw this because on the daily chart we did this. Okay, we were coming up, actually I think this is on the 4 hour. This is just a trade that I clicked into. So we painted these candles. We're very high according to this. Well, not high, but we were high and we were beginning to slow down. So we're in the beginning of the sell zone. Okay, we were above the dotted white line. Okay, and so I waited for a candle to close below one of these ones, and then on the open, so on the close of this candle, I clicked in on the 4 hour chart. Price drifted lower. I was expecting to go around here, right here. We kept going lower. Then this morning I got out of the trade because we started to maybe form a base around this this micro area of demand where we had the slingshot. So I just got out of that trade manually. So there's another one. We have another one here on the S&P 500. This was also from yesterday. I was in these. Actually, they were filled this morning. And here you can see it. This was a pretty interesting one here. And I like this because we had some sell zones. We had double highs here. Test. We had another one here. So price went through that one. We went through that one. And I said, super. So there's an interest to move higher. The only thing I didn't like is because we had this, which is above this, where price reacted. So I thought, okay, well, we do have, let's just do it roughly like this. We have this. Okay, we had the trend line breaking. The origin of the trend line break was here. Okay, and I thought, yeah, well, maybe we'll have a poke into there and then a continuation higher. But I'm super careful with equities at the moment because of the funkiness in the fundamentals. And so I'm really, really careful. That didn't have any influence on this trade, but I think in the back of my mind, I was a little bit careful holding equities and stocks long for too greater of a period. But this trend came. It was just a very clean break. And I got in here and I got a 1-to-1 out of that one, and price filled the order, and then it went straight to the target, and that was done. And that was done while I was sleeping. Okay, we have another one here. This is, let's have a look. Put on the other one as well. Okay, so this is a crude trading against the American dollar. Yes, so what I liked about this is, let me remove all these. What I like about this is that we were reacting at a sell zone right there. If you zoom in, we got to it to the pip. Oops, a little bit higher. We got to it almost to the pip. Okay, and so I saw that. And I thought, well, we had this one here. This is where that high was. And we formed this area of supply on this candle, which moved, which is the origin of the move that went through all of these lows here. So I was expecting some kind of reaction. Another thing I liked about this was that price did this. And we had a really strong run down. Okay, so I was expecting price to sell off from here. And we didn't really, a little bit. So I got a small snip out of there. What is that, a 1-to-1? Let me see. 12, yeah, so a 1-to-1 on that one there as well. What else? And then we have this here. So this is the pound Aussie, a shorter buy. This is a tiny one. This is a 1 hour chart. Okay, and this was a reaction. Yes, this is a reaction on this one just here. So the open of this candle here. Price came to it. And I was watching this on the smaller time frames. And it went up. See, it went up. It went above there, and then it closed below. And I was like, oh, we have something similar going on as we had on the previous trade I just showed. Yeah, and so I just closed it out here because I was expecting this to happen, price to bleed through and stop it out. So I clicked out. Okay, so I scratched that trade. And we have another one here, the pound Aussie. This was actually a 1 minute scalp. I was kind of playing here. Where are we? So it was, let me see where it is. Okay, so it was a little buy right here. Just a super quick trade in and out. This is, I don't know if this is a mistake or a brain fart or whatever, but I was experimenting in this. I was having a bit of education. I bought in here and got out just here. Just a tiny trade. And price slowly wriggled higher up to this area of supply as expected. The software found it beautifully. Okay, so that's what we've got there. So what I'm doing is, on a pretty regular basis, is I'm just, number one, something I'm beginning to use more and more is the origins indicator. I really like that because it's showing us visually where we have highs being removed. In a situation like this pair here, where you have an area of demand that was tested, when price tested it, we went above the previous high here. Okay, when that happens, I feel pretty confident that price is going to continue moving higher for a little while. Have this one here, it's gray, which means that prices moved beyond it. We came down, we moved above that. We had big rejection, and now price is beginning to sell off. And so for the time being, when we have very clear, there's no supply here. Okay, there's no supply there. We have this high here, which lines up here. So we have a child supply just here. And then we have this little pause, continuation pattern, slingshot, and then departure from right here. This is where price went to and stopped pretty nicely. Now it's turning around. And so it is my expectation that price will wriggle higher from somewhere in here. We can't see the details of anything in here. But what I'm doing is I'm looking on the daily chart, and I want to see something like this. Okay? And then I go to the small time frame, and I want to see confirmation of that. And you want to see the orange dots going high. You want to see them below price, and you want to see gray dots above price. And that is telling us very simply that the price is continuing higher, contrary to yellow dots above price and gray dots below, which is telling us the opposite. So we have supply is in control, and demand is being consumed by the supply. Because that's what I'm doing. I'm just kind of going through these one at a time. If we go here, I've already put in quite a few orders. And so here I'm looking, and I'm seeing, what do we have going on here? You see we have a nice area of demand that was formed, but we haven't moved beyond any highs from here. Okay, and so this is where you can see the conviction. You can't see any conviction here. If we manage to move above here from here, well, that would make this a very attractive buy. Okay, but we don't have that yet. On the smaller time frames, we do. We have these minor highs here, but there's nothing remarkable. And so ideally what I'd like to see is I'd like to see price move above this, above these highs here, before I would look to buy. And so it's becoming pretty simple actually for me to find these now. I'm just going through them one by one, and I look for these patterns. Okay, and so here, yeah, pretty clearly we have orange dots above price. Okay, where do we have the origin of the moves that are going through? We had one here. Okay, we have this one here, right here, going to the 4-hour chart. You can see that this is actually a nested 4-hour area that was now tested, but we have what I like even more is this. And the reason I like this even more is because we have that sell zone right there. And we have this, which is tested and now removed by this. Okay, so this would be the ultimate place to sell, and not here or anywhere else from here, because this is also above this stuff here. Okay, it's above all of this mess here, this kind of consolidation stuff. You want to go above that, You want to see black space, as you can see pretty clearly, right there, right above this slingshot. Okay, so this is the place I would look to sell, 91.59, with my stop just above there at 93.74. That would be a pretty interesting place. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to plop that in there. So that is, that's a big stop, tiny position. Sell, and this is boom, supply, 4 hour supply, sell at 91.59, stop is at 93.74, and I'll do that later. So this is what we're looking at currently. So currently it's at a 1-to-1, and ideally we would maybe go down to here, but we don't know yet. Right around here where we had buy zone established. Okay, we had the area of demand, we had liquidity exploration, price pokes below it, and then comes back. So below that, there's going to be nested liquidity, which will likely kind of support price should it come back down here. So we'll have to wait and see. But for the time being, I'll leave it here, and depending on how this plays out, I'll adjust that. All right, so let's go on to a couple more. Okay, so I've got this one on here. And the reason I like this is because we had price moving down, up, down, up. So we had a very big departure right here. Okay, so I just went down a little bit deeper in here on the hourly chart. You can see it. Here we had a little area, price goes up, slingshots pull back, and then we depart. Okay, so this is the place that I want to try and get in, and I want to be out of the trade right here. Yeah, so that's why I decided to take that one. Again, we moved above an area of supply. That's important. The dollar's singing. You can see how easy this is. Rather easy. It's not easy at all. How simple it is. When I see something like this, I'm thinking, no, it's not very clear, is it? Okay, we will probably have liquidity exploration going on here. We have these equal highs here. So when you have equal highs, that means that there's something above there. There's selling pressure, departure, selling pressure, departure, selling pressure. So maybe selling from above here might be interesting, but I won't take that. I'll wait. It's not too terribly clear. So just moving through these one by one. And we've got this one here. Okay, so we had on this time frame, if I zoom out, how we had a bounce, rejection, support, 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 and then removal. Okay, and the origin of that, which candle is the one that managed to move through these areas here? It's that one, it's the red one right here. So I want to be right here. This is exactly where I want to be selling, and I want my stop to be out of the way. Okay, so above some of the other candles, just above. Ideally, I put the stop up here, but I'll leave it here for the time being. Okay, so I could leave that at a 1-to-1 initially, and after I get the opportunity to watch the trade work or not work, then I can adjust and see what happens. Okay. Good. Well, I'm going to leave it at that. If you have any questions, let me know, and keep your eyes on the dashboard because that's where it's at. Thanks for watching.